Welcome to the Michael Singer podcast, presented by Sounds True, in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information about Michael Singer's work, access to all prior episodes, and information about upcoming releases, we invite you to join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com.
Jai Masters. The mind is a very, very great thing. It's very, very important, both in life and especially in the spiritual path, that you understand the mind truly and understand how to use it, understand how to have it healthy, understand its purpose, etc. The problem is, when you're drowning in water, you don't even know you're in water. You're just trying to stay alive. You're just grabbing onto anything you possibly can. You can't understand the nature of water, the nature of the ocean, the nature of waves, etc., because you're drowning and you're in panic. That is where almost everybody is inside their mind. You can't understand mind till you get out. You have to get a distance from it. Then you can look at it. You can come back in and you can understand what's going on. But when you're lost in it, you can't see it. What do they say? You can't see the forest from the trees. Okay? You have to step back. And we don't know how to do that. First, let's talk about why we don't know how to do it. Because we're drowning. And that's the truth. Everyone's drowning. They don't know it because they're grabbing onto things that make it feel like they're not drowning. If you lost those things, which you have at sometimes in your life, you're drowning. So you're doing what the Buddhists call clinging. That's the term clinging. The most hilarious part of it is, mind is what you're drowning in, and you're grabbing onto mind in order to not drown. You're in that mind. What do I need to do? How can I do it? What should I, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're struggling. You're struggling. How do you know you're struggling? Because the mind is telling you you're struggling. It's telling you this is not okay. That could go wrong. Oh my God, be careful. And you're going exactly into the mind that is telling you you're struggling to say, how do I stop struggling? And the answer is very simple. Have your mind stop telling you you're struggling. Stop drowning in mind. And then you don't have to grab mind to stop drowning. You'll understand when I'm done how truthful that is. All right, first of all, what is mind? We discussed this before. Let's just get it very quickly. When you step back out of mind, what you see is it's a field of energy, like the ocean. Imagine a still lake or the still ocean. No wavelets, no nothing, just still. It's not disturbing. It's just there. It's a certain level of energy that exists. That's what mind is. All of the minds are the same in that state. It's like all the water's the same. It's just there. It's there. It's something that exists. Why does mind exist? That's very, very deep. Maybe we'll touch it. I'll give you a clue. Ramakrishna, fully enlightened beings, said, the purified mind is no different than the self. The self is consciousness. It's you in there. You in there that's watching mind. You in there that's noticing the emotions. You in there is looking through the eyes. That's self. Okay? Don't talk about it. It's just there. It's the essence of your being. And it happens to be an emanation of the infinite spirit. That's what your consciousness is. It's one with the infinite consciousness, but it's focusing. Consciousness can focus. It's focusing on this. I'll call it you. It's focusing down to a point. That's what your witness consciousness is. Witness consciousness is a beautiful state. Very few people can reach it, where you're there noticing that you're noticing your thoughts. You're not your thoughts, you're noticing the thoughts. You're not your emotion, you're noticing the emotions. You're noticing that you notice. That's wonderful. It's not a very high state. The great ones went way, way past that. That is a state in which the consciousness is focused down to one point, which is your seat of consciousness, your witness. And then it's noticing what it's noticing. What if the consciousness doesn't focus down to one point, which they call it your soul, your witness, your the you in there, your Atman with a lowercase a. What if it doesn't do that? What if it remains expanded, not expanded consciousness? I would tell you that in the 60s, we talk about expanded consciousness. Now I understand it's a non-contracted consciousness. You're concentrating, that contracts the consciousness. It's already fully expanded. Just stop concentrating on you and you'll find out who you are. The source of consciousness is universal consciousness, is God, the whole. So that consciousness is focusing down to one point and then looking at what it sees. The problem is you are so distracted of what you see that you can't even get back to that point. You've spread out. It's sort of like you're a flashlight and there's a core, bulb, LED, whatever it is, where you come from. That's what's emanating light. But then it broadcasts the light, radiates the light out onto objects. If you don't care about the objects, the light can just move around and just sees the objects, but you still know that you are the light. If somehow it shines on an object that you are so distracted by, so involved in, so attached to, then you think you're the object. You are the light illuminating the object, but you're more interested in the object than you are who you are. You're so distracted, your consciousness is so distracted by what it's looking at, that it actually is more interested in what it sees than who it is. There, I said it. Can you understand that? That's the essence of understanding deep spirituality. You're more interested in what you're seeing than who sees it. You're more interested in what you're experiencing than who's experiencing it. You are not the experience you're having. You're the being that's experiencing the experience. You're not a car, but you can get so involved in the car because it got crashed because it's so beautiful or whatever the heck it is that you lose your seat of awareness. You don't realize, I'm in here. No, I'm out there. No, you're not. But you're distracted so much by what's out there. Your consciousness is. It's always you. It's all that's in there. Your consciousness is distracted by it. And then you collect things. You have this field of energy, but then you fill it with this stuff. You fill it with this stuff. You fill it with cars. You fill it with people. You fill it with this. You fill it with that. You fill everything. It's just full of stuff. So when Ramakrishna says the purified mind is no different than the self, he doesn't mean the mind that doesn't swear or doesn't think bad things. That's not what purity means. It means it's still. It means it's not holding objects inside of itself. You can't really hold a car in your mind. You can hold a mental thought of a car, which is just a vibration, a form that gets made out of this field. This field emanates, it vibrates, and it makes the form of a car. It's not a car, right? That's what a thought is. It's a form that gets formed inside that field. And so you've dirtied the field, if you will, with all of these thought patterns that you made out of the field. And that's what's going on in there. The purified mind is the one that isn't doing that. It's back to its natural state. It's pure. It hasn't built false forms that you held on to, right? And he says the purified mind is no different than the self. That is as deep as it comes. What it means is, where did that field come from? The field of mind. It is no different than the field of consciousness. It's all the same thing. Non-dualism. There's only consciousness. Just like there's vapor. If I cool the vapor down, there's water. If I cool the water down, like this morning, there's ice. It's the same thing. It's just vibrating at different rates, but it's all water. It's all H2O. It's the same thing. It's all consciousness. But if it concentrates even a little bit, it gets denser. Its vibration is slower. That's what concentrating does. It takes that which is broad, vapor, and turns it into ice. It just becomes, if you focus on something in your mind and concentrate on something, it means take that which is broad and bring it down to a point. As it does that, its nature changes. It turns into ice. It turns into this or that. Not a bad thing. So in pure, unformed, unmanifest consciousness, concentrates even a little, it becomes the field of mind, the field of emotions, the field of form. As it slows down, that's all it is. But it's all consciousness. It's all the same thing. So the purified mind is no different than the self, is saying, if it formed that concentrated first step down, but didn't build objects out of it. It's pure. There's no different. So that's what mind is. We started there. Mind is that field of consciousness which has slowed down enough to where it can make forms, not physical forms, mental forms. Okay? All right. That's wonderful. It's a gift. You can hold things in your mind. You can create things. You can be inspired. My mind can do so many great things. It's great. Like, it's neat that the water can be still, but it's also beautiful that it can make wavelets and can do all kinds of things. Like, quiet is beautiful, but out of quiet, you can create vibrations that are beautiful music and so on. Okay? And same thing with colors, same with everything. The mind is a way that the creative force, God, is able to create at all kinds of levels. So now it can create in the mind. The mind is extremely creative, isn't it? Like Beethoven heard, people think Beethoven wrote music. He was a composer. He would argue with you. He would say, I wrote down the music that was going on in my mind all the time. All I heard was this music, and I had to get it down. And he cried. He was in pain. When he went deaf, when he was going deaf, of all things, a great composer couldn't hear. He cut the legs off his piano, he put it down on the wood floor, and tried to move his ears where he could hear the vibration of the floor as he hit the notes. He couldn't live without expressing what was going on in his mind. Mind is a great thing. Artists don't start by putting it on a canvas. They see it in their mind. That's so beautiful. Mind is a great thing. It's a great thing. So what happened? What happened? Why are we drowning in mind? You're drowning in mind because you got too distracted by a particular thing in the world. You looked at it, the form, outside form, came in, it created a form in your mind. I guess I have to tell you that. I do this, I don't know, I can't help myself. Let's get down to biology, health, okay? Look at me. You're not looking at me. You're not looking at me. I know it's tough. You're not looking at me. Light is bouncing off of the atoms that make up my body, but not bouncing off the air. The air is subtle enough to where light doesn't bounce off of it, but the light bounces off my body. That light hits your retina, hits your visual sensors, and it stimulates the nerves and comes back and creates a form in your mind. This form, that's what you're looking at. Take a breath, check it out. That's not yoga, that's not spirituality, that's science. Your consciousness is looking at the form that got rendered, that's the word we use, that got rendered in your mind because of the light that got sent up. If you're colorblind, what rendered isn't necessarily the color that's out there. If you're afraid of me and you're looking at me, you're not seeing the same thing as somebody who loves me. Why? Because it passed through the filter of your mind that wasn't clear and pure. And all of a sudden, fear has distorted. I have horns. Or I have angels, whatever it is, all right? So it had to pass through the filter of your mind, right? That had to come in and pass through your mind. There was already something in your mind, and it distorts your view. But the point is, it's all happening inside your mind. That's how great mind is, all right? There's nothing else going on. The world is light bouncing off, and then you're receiving it, and it renders. It's exactly the same as there's a ball game going on in San Francisco. There's a camera, with your eyes, shooting the ball game, sending it through the satellites or through the wires, whatever it is, transmitting it, and then it hits your flat screen TV, which renders it, and it looks like you're watching the ball game. You're obviously not watching the ball game. You're watching a rendered image of the ball game that was digitized and then transferred and then rendered. That is exactly what is happening when you look outside your eyes. You do not look out your eyes. There are cameras that are receiving the light and sending it back to you. Isn't that neat? This is how great mind is. Look what it's doing. So these images come in, and they form in your mind. Why? Because it's capable of doing that. I told you, it's capable of making forms out of that subtle energy, which is truly self, right? Slow down consciousness, and it makes those forms. Then it goes away, and then the next thing's going to be here now. The camera scans the ball game, focus on different things. How would you like it if when it watched somebody at bat with the baseball, somebody's at bat, and they go to hit the ball, and the camera goes to follow, right? But the batter is still there on top of the image that was supposed to be the ball going to the home run. And then it all stayed there, mushed into each other, and that'd be terrible, wouldn't it? Well, that's what your mind's doing. There are images that came into your mind that are not there anymore. Not where in my mind? Well, they're in your mind, but they're not outside anymore. You clung to them. You didn't let it dissolve when it was over. Who did that? Did the image do that? The image has no ability to do anything. The image is light bouncing off of images outside, coming in and forming in your mind. Did your mind do that? No, your mind did not do that. You did that. The consciousness that was watching the image said, oh my God, she's beautiful. I don't ever want to not think about her, right? Well, what about the rest of your life? I don't care. I only have eyes for you, dear. All right? In other words, the image got made in your mind, and it would go, when she went away, it went away. She's not there anymore. I mean, she won't come back, but she's not there anymore. What's there? What's there is what's there. She's there. He's there. The sky's there. The car is there. There's all kinds of things that are there. The thing that is there is what's there. Be here now. But you can't do that. Why? Because there are images that got formed in your mind that you either didn't like or did like. It's so simple. That's the essence of the deepest spiritual teachings, is that it's all about like and dislike. It's all about the fact that you couldn't let that image go. It's gone. I don't understand. The light is no longer bouncing off that image and coming into your eyes, but you have the ability to hold it in your mind even though it's gone. Like I said, imagine watching the news and there's like a broadcaster, then you change to a movie, but the broadcaster's still there superimposed on top of the movie. That's what's going on inside your mind. You did it. There is nothing going on inside that you're not in charge of. You're the only one who lives in there. Nobody else lives in there. Not your mother, not your father, not your kids, not your husband, not your wife. You live in there. So whatever's going on in there, and people don't like me saying this, whatever's going on in there is your house. That's your house. If you want to hold on to this image, hold on to the image. You want to see a snake once in your life, a rattlesnake? You took a step, all of a sudden this rattler coiled up close to you when you were little. Now you won't walk in the woods ever again. You won't do anything. You won't go to the zoo because there's reptile things in the zoo. Ropes scare you if they're coiled up. Rattles, like you did that. No, the snake did that. No, the snake did not do that. The snake's gone for 40 years. Why is it still going on in there? Because you held it there. You held it there. You, the consciousness, the indwelling being, the self, the Atman, the consciousness is the only power that's in there. And for whatever reason, that gets deep as to why you did that. Why you're not evolved enough to say, okay, I saw a snake. There are snakes. I'll be careful. There. Now let's go about our business. Let's live our life. No, it made its image inside my mind so strong it won't go away. No such thing. There's no super glue in there. There's no concrete in there. There's nothing that will hold anything inside your mind except you, except the focus of consciousness. If you focus your consciousness on something, it can't pass through because you gave it the energy of staying. Don't you find out that if something's stuck in your mind, it keeps drawing your attention to it, keep holding on to it? It's all about that clinging, the holding. So basically, there are things that, because they're not evolved, it's all a question, can't talk about anything without talking about everything. It's a question of evolution. Physical evolution? No, you're pretty evolved. You're not way more involved than an armadillo or an amoeba. Definitely an amoeba, no question, all right? You've gone through the evolutionary process. You now have this beautiful body, all right? It has thumbs and there's all kinds of things. It can stand erect, it can move, it can do all kinds of things. It's got a mind. Oh my God, you're so evolved. Don't worry about that. You're fully evolved. But inside, the self, the consciousness, God, that focused down to one point and then is looking at your thoughts, your emotions, your form, what's coming into your eyes, got lost. That is the fall from the garden. That's what they're trying to tell you in that story, is you were with God. You are with God. My Father and I are one. That's who you are. That's what your consciousness is. It is the whole universe. And it created all of creation and then came down to play, to experience itself. Like an artist painted something, wants to look at it. So the divine force vibrated, created the quantum field, manifested it all up, and then came down to look at it. And you're the eyes. You're God's ambassador for the moment you're looking at. Some of these things I say, do you get it? The moment you're experiencing, nobody else is experiencing. Even right now, you're all looking at me from different angles and different things. Then you're going to go out and go somewhere else. Not only is the moment you're experiencing, you're the only one experiencing it. Literally, you're the only one experiencing that exact moment. No one has ever experienced it, and no one will ever experience it, because it will never happen again. Wow, that's quite an honor. That moment was made for you. If nobody else ever experienced this moment, you're having a moment. That's a very romantic thing. We had a moment. That's how special you are. That's what you're meant to be. The body emanated from the quantum field and all came up to the atoms and all formed into all your parts of your body, liver, this and the whole thing. And now your consciousness is looking down into it. God is experiencing his creation through you. You're the consciousness experiencing the consciousness creation. Fine. That's what's being in the garden. It's all beautiful. It's all awesome. And it's like God wants to experience everything. God's everything. He experienced everything. So the reality is there's just consciousness expressing itself and consciousness experiencing the expression of itself. And that's who you are in there. It's focused in order to experience the moment you're experiencing. But you can't do that. Why? You got too close. That's the fall from the garden. You tasted of the tree of self-knowledge. You stared at something and either you couldn't handle it because it was too scary. The vibration was such that you weren't able to handle it. It distracted you too much. It distracted you so much that you held on to it. If something distracts you, if you like something, you don't like something, you don't let it go. You keep it formed in your mind. Now all of a sudden you have competition for the current moment. Right now, it's here now. No, I have these things I built in my mind that are left over because I couldn't handle them. And handle me, use the words. Do you understand? If you like something so much, you can't handle it. It's not just the things you don't like you can't handle. You can't handle that you liked it so much. You were married and you went out to a tennis pro and he was really cute or she was really cute. And all of a sudden, you can't get him out of my mind. You couldn't handle the love. You couldn't handle feeling wonderful. Understand it? You couldn't handle positive and you couldn't handle negative. You couldn't handle the strength of a strong experience. So what did you do with it? You held it inside of you. Okay? You formed it in that form of mind. Now I'm telling you, there's competition with reality. What? Your mind. I never stop it. I talk so fast. I'm going to stop for a second. Do you understand how deep that is? Now you're in there experiencing what is. Which it is? What the reality is out there coming in, or the one you held in your mind from before? You have this whole thing going inside your mind. Which one are you paying attention to? Because it is rather distracting, isn't it? Wow, if you got that, we're talking about mind. You got something so deep. So that's what's happening. The self, the consciousness, now has two worlds they can pay attention to. The mental world, with all of its past objects that you built in there, right, that aren't happening anymore, or the ones that are happening now. And what it does is smush them together. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Your hair's like my sister's. And I had this experience with my sister. I saw her brushing her hair, and I just felt so much love. It's always inside of me, and now you reminded me of that. She's not your sister. It's not your sister's hair. You've just polluted reality with personal. All right, so now the consciousness is lost. Is it my sister? Is it this? Should I do? Does it mean she's special? Should I marry her? I mean, she's a serial killer. You don't know anything. You just painted the world with the brush of your mind, of the brush you held in your mind. You can't see straight. You can't see straight anymore. I want a new relationship. When I was in high school, I had this relationship with this guy or gal, and it was so beautiful. And I'd just been looking, not for them, and I know I can't find them, but for something like that. I wanted to be like, you just ruined your life. That was one experience in your life. How dare you hold on to that experience and try to paint life with that experience? That's a positive experience. I dated this guy. He seemed really nice, and then he started turning on me, and he told everybody terrible things about me. Oh, my God. I don't remember his name, Ben something. All right, well, now I want to fix you up. I had this beautiful blind date for you. Oh, it sounds wonderful. What's his name, Ben? No. I've had enough Ben for my entire life. Do laugh. How true is that? This is what I'm telling you. This is what you've done with this great thing called mind. I'm going to build these objects inside my mind that aren't there anymore, and I'm going to hold on to them as either good or bad, positive or negative, like or dislike. And then I'm going to paint my entire life based on I want the things to happen in front of me that were similar to the ones that I liked, and I don't want the things to happen in front of me ever that were similar to things I don't like. And so I'm going to go out there and fight with everybody and everything, with the weather, with everything, to be the way I want it to be and to not be the way I don't want it to be. Aren't I going to do that? That's what I started to talk by saying you're drowning. You're drowning, you're trying not to drown. And look what caused the drowning. The way you misused your mind. And guess where you're going when you say, I want to manipulate the world to get what I want and avoid what I don't want? You're going to the mind and saying, oh, mind, who's causing all this trouble? What should I be doing to solve it? You find your way back to the garden. You won't be confused at all. You'll be settled into this beautiful state of ecstasy, of total well-being, where everything is expressing itself and everything is experiencing itself. And that's just beautiful. That's spirituality. There's really only one commandment. Thou shalt remain in ecstasy. But you created this junk inside your mind, which again, that's what the fall from the garden is, what eating that fruit is, and that's what self-knowledge is, and et cetera, right? You built this stuff. But that's just patterns that are held within the mind. And then it says those things. And then the self is so lost that it believes them. And then I left the emotions out. They're the same as mine. They're just another vibration level of a field of energy, okay, that vibrates and creates jealousy, insecurity, fear, love. It creates the vibrations of emotions. You know what another name for emotions is? Feelings. You feel them. It's just another level of your being that can pick up these other layers that are consciousness having slowed down. It's all consciousness, all right? And you don't like certain emotions, and you do like certain emotions. And they can make life really interesting, can't they? And then your mind starts to think, how do I not feel this emotion? What do I need to do? This guy's messing around with my woman. Mind starts thinking that. In other words, let's go to the sick mind for solutions of what to do for the disturbed emotions. You know how true that is? Okay. Thank you. All right. Now you're going to feel what mind is. You understand? What does it mean to be drowning? What does it mean to fall from the garden? I was talking about evolution. If you are more evolved, what does that mean? You're able to handle the different vibrations of reality. You're able to handle the emotions. You're able to handle the things that come in. A snake comes in. It's scary. It's supposed to be scary. It's rattling for a purpose. Fine, you had the experience. Someday, if you're evolved enough, you honor and respect every single experience you ever had or ever will have. Why? They're your teachers. If you didn't experience something, you don't know anything about it. If you did experience it, you're a knower of snakes. You're a knower of relationships that didn't work. You're a knower of beautiful relationships that did work. Be a knower. It's a beautiful thing. That's what you came here for. Earth is a place the souls are sent to evolve, not to hide, not get what they want, not to yell and scream, to evolve. What does it mean to evolve? To be able to adapt to reality. Isn't that what Darwin's evolution is? Survival of the fittest? Those that can adapt. How well are you doing? It's really amazing that spiritual evolution is just very similar in process to the physiological evolution. If your environment is not giving you what you want when you're a certain species and you had that mutation, you're going to die off. If it is giving you what you can live with, then you can be a stronger species and go on. It's the same with you. If you can't handle somebody who's different than you don't do well here. You freak out. You're having trouble. You can't survive properly. And proper survival means you're in ecstasy all the time. You're in joy all the time. You're appreciative all the time. You're filled with love all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. But what if there's fear? You love fear. You've adapted to the reality of the environment. That's spiritual evolution. The adaptability that you can handle reality. How's that for a definition of spiritual evolution? This being is more evolved than that one. Why? That one could handle the relationship, could handle the divorce, could handle getting sick, could handle the death. Not that you didn't feel lost, not that you didn't have problems. You were able to handle that these vibrations were happening inside your emotions and inside your mind. You didn't marry them. You didn't glue them down. I'm never having another relationship as long as I live. Nothing, I don't care. You hear me? So now we have why you're drowning in mind. Because you can't handle reality. And because you can't handle reality, you hold on to it. I always give this example. Go to a restaurant and order some food and get good and sick. It just doesn't sit with you at all. It's just something was wrong. Okay? What do? Well, the proper thing to do is ask for a doggy bag, take it home, and you have a room called the sick room. Take it and put it in the sick room. And it's very important. Every single morning when you get up, go into the sick room and taste some of the food because you don't want to forget how sick it made you. That's what you're doing with your mind. The things that bothered you the most, you decided to keep so you never forget how much it bothered you. And guess what? They keep bothering you inside, even though they're not happening anymore. All right? That's really smart. Right on, man. Very, very intelligent thing to do. And that which you really, really, really didn't like, really, really, really bothers you for the rest of your life. Okay? You cling to, you hold on to, you use your beautiful mind to make a form that keeps what bothered you the most inside your mind. Does it come back by itself? Yes. Why? It has the same power. If you didn't like it, it had certain power emotionally and everything like that. It didn't feel good. It's still, you didn't just store the form. You stored the vibration, you stored the smell, you stored the touch, you stored the emotion, the whole thing. Well, by definition, you obviously didn't like that emotion. You obviously didn't like what it was. Now that you stored it, it keeps happening to you, doesn't it? What's this still good inside of me? I got divorced 15 years ago. I might as well not have gotten divorced. He's still causing me trouble in there. He's still running my life. Everyone I go out with, I compare to him. If somebody slurps their soup like he did, I know you're off the list. Wake up. Realize what is going on, how you're using your mind. That's just mind. Everything we're talking about so far is mind. It's mind. It's not you. You're the one who's living in there, okay, and having a lot of trouble. The way you've used your mind, the mind is not a very nice place to live. So the question becomes, now, do you understand a little bit better what's going on in there? It's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're the consciousness. What you have built with your mind, which was capable of building anything. Your mind is beautiful. Your mind is the greatest. Oh, my God. It built rocket ships. What did the human mind? It flew to the moon. It really did. It figured out there's nothing out there. There aren't even particles. And that's what you're doing in your mind, right? No, why did he say that to me? Oh, my God, I got zit on my face. I don't want to go anywhere now. That's what you do in your mind. Congratulations. You have the greatest gift, just the human body. What a great gift. Yes, certain animals have features that are better than the human feature. A cheetah runs faster than you can, all right? A dolphin swims better than you can, but there's no one that has altogether the features that you have. That body you have, it's just an amazing, amazing thing. More amazing than flying on the moon. You got livers and kidneys and pancreas and all kinds of stuff. Really, what is it? What is that body? 30 trillion living cells communicating and working together. That's what your body is. It's not your body, it's theirs. Okay? And it's, oh my God, I can't even talk about it. It's an amazing thing, more amazing than flying to the moon. Okay? That thing's unbelievable. Who did it? It did itself. A single cell turns into a baby. I'm sorry, mother, you didn't do it. When they look at me weird, I say, okay, here's $300 billion, make me an eyeball. It makes itself. My God, this is an amazing thing. You're given that gift of the body, and the mind is greater than the body. You have all these gifts, and what do you do with them? Make a mess. Look at the world. It's because they stored this stuff in their mind, and they're not okay because they stored all the garbage they didn't like, or either they stored the garbage they didn't like, or they're not getting what they got before that they liked. You hear me? The mind cannot help you with this. It wasn't meant to do that. It was meant to create. It was meant to express. It was meant to intellectually solve problems. It's a very great thing. It was not meant to figure out how you can fix the mess that you made inside of itself. The mind is not good at that. It will never be good at that. All right? So what's the answer? The answer is very, very simple. Stop misusing your mind. How? Okay, let's take, all right, here's a way to talk about dealing with mind. There's a word, let's see, it's called worry. Does anybody just even roughly know what I mean by the word worry? Okay, all right. Your mind is telling you what to worry about. And then your mind is doing the worrying. Now I'm getting back to my drowning example, but that one you really understand, don't you? What you're worrying about, shut up, worry one iota. Go tell what you worry about. I don't know what you're talking about. Right or wrong? You're worrying that the things that happened in the past that you held images in your mind about might either not happen or might happen. You're not a single thing, I'm psychic, not a single thing that any one of you are worrying about except I stored something on mine that I liked. What if it doesn't happen? Oh my God, I'm afraid it wouldn't happen, right? I stored something in my mind I didn't like. I'm afraid it's going to happen. Is that not the only thing you ever worry about? What else is there to worry about? That what I like is going to happen? I don't worry about that. That what I don't like won't happen? I don't worry about that. I worry that what I don't like, what I don't want to happen, might happen. And what I want to happen might not happen. Okay? And that's all based on the fact that you held these past images inside your mind about what I liked and what I didn't like. Is it true or not? It's beyond your comprehension, or behind your mind's comprehension, to imagine not doing that. Okay, that's why you kind of sit there a little stunned, all right? What if I didn't do that? What if okay, I'll give you an example that will help you drive this home. You're driving down the road, and there's white lines in the road. Have you noticed that? I hope you understand. Some of them are solid, and some of them are dashed. And there's rules about those, all right? When they're dashed, you can pass, if they're dashed on your side. But not, it's very complicated. But now they're dash on the other side, okay? All right? And so you got these rules, right? In the meantime, you in the past had a terrible car accident because somebody in the other lane tried to pass when they had a solid line and head on. A terrible accident, in hospital for a long time. It was a terrible, terrible thing, okay? You now have an impression in your mind about dotted lines and solid lines, because there was a whole lawsuits and it was all about the lines and who was doing what in the photos. Oh my God, you imagine what that looked like when they went through all that stuff. And you have now a thing about lines that other people don't have, okay? When you're driving down the road, you're not just driving like we all do. How many times do you really pay that much attention? You notice that it's dashed, it's not dashed. You don't stare. It's not, no, I can't talk right now, I'm looking at the lines. This person that had that accident is not only saying, I can't talk right now, I'm looking at the lines. They're looking at the line on the other side and seeing if somebody's going to violate it, trying to look ahead. They're worried about the lines. I just talked about something you don't worry about one single iota, right? Because you left that impression in the mind. It makes you worry about it. Don't you have those? It's not you, it's your mind. You're aware that the mind is like that. Who is? You are. That's the seat of self. You that's aware that what I'm talking about is the truth. Is your consciousness that's noticing, yeah, the mind's like that. Okay? All right. How do we solve that? How do you solve worrying? If I were to ask your mind, how do you solve worrying? You get out there and get to work and make sure that what you're worrying about doesn't happen. Come on, wake up early, get up earlier, work harder, get more money, get elected, have power, have control, so that what you don't want to happen, that you're worrying about, doesn't happen. Or what you want to happen, you're worrying won't happen, you make sure it happens. That's all. You don't love me? All right, here's $7 million. Love me. At least make believe you do. Tell everybody you do. Just lie. I just don't want people to think you love me. Just power, money, control. You want control, don't you? Everyone wants control. Somebody once said to me, that person has control issues. Everybody has control issues. What do you mean? I'm trying to get it the way I want. That's called control. Why? Because it is the way it is. It's raining when it's raining. I don't want it to. Too bad. I don't like what she said to me. Well, what she said to you is the sum total of all the experiences of our entire life coming to a culminating point at this moment when the words are coming out of her mouth. Go say it shouldn't be happening. So it's one way to get rid of worry. Control. Ooh, I can't believe I'm talking to you this way. I always wanted to talk to you this way. That's why you're drowning. First of all, the mind created the problem to start with because it held on to the past images and created like and dislike. Like and dislike are not natural. You like a certain kind of art. You like modern art, blow things all over the place. Like that makes him sick to his stomach. He don't like it at all. He likes classical art, okay? People can like and dislike you. What if you liked everything? What if you looked at art and it made your stomach sick and you like that? I love the fact it had that impact on me, right? Like, what's his name? Scream, that famous painting, all right? Like, it made me so People watch horror movies. I don't. People watch horror movies. They like to get scared. But then why don't you like to get scared in real life? Don't worry, life is plenty scary. All right. So one way to handle worry, first of all, the reason I've talked this much is because the root of worry is your mind. But it's not your mind's fault. You're the one who stored all this stuff in your mind. Doesn't know what to store. A camera doesn't know what it took a picture of. You're the one who stored the album. Same thing inside. That's a good example, by the way. If the camera takes a picture, it doesn't know good or bad or right or wrong or better or worse or like or dislike, does it? You do, and so you make picture albums so you can look through them. That's what you did with your mind, isn't it? The camera came in, you saw it, it created in your mind, very nice. Your mind made an image for you so you could see what the outside world was, and you started taking snapshots and building an album. But you built a scary one. How many of you have albums sitting on your table of every single thing that ever bothered you? But you all did it. You see it now? You made the album inside your mind. You built a beautiful picture album of everything that freaked you out. All right? You're just totally scared to death. And that's what you have going on inside your mind. And then in a little corner, you have of the nice things. Right? But, all right. So how do you get rid of worry? First of all, you understand what caused it. You did. Otherwise, there were white lines. The lines. Somebody went across the line when they weren't supposed to. I don't have to make lines the meaning of my life now. It happened once. How many times did it not happen? That's the other thing you don't understand with mind. It has no concept of proper statistics. All right? I'm driving down the road 7,000 times. I drove past this light every single day of my life. All of a sudden, somebody ran the light. I hit them. I didn't even hit them. I skidded. Oh, it's so scary, but I didn't hit anybody. All right? I ain't driving down the road ever again. What, you drove down the road 7,000 times. Nothing happened. Once? What's the probability it will happen again? 1 in 7 million or whatever the heck it is. Proper probability. No, it's a dangerous road. To you it is, because you stored that one stupid incident inside your mind and you can't get it out. And you've just, in fact, you're writing letters to the commissioners. That road needs to be changed. It's dangerous, right? Well, people, I have no words. You made a thing out of it in your mind, and now it stands out in your mind. But statistically, there's nothing going on. All right. So how do you get rid of worry? Work so hard as you manipulate everything so you think I made it so it's not going to happen or it's going to happen. That's one way to do it. It doesn't work. the more energy you put into it, the more it becomes the focus of your life. Go on a rampage. The lines shouldn't be white. They should be that fire engine green that scares you to even look at. It just has to be bolder and neon. You now have made your whole life be about the thing that bothered you the most. We have a tendency, don't we? Okay, what's the alternative? Is there a way to get rid of worry? Yes, there's a way to get rid of worry. How? Instead of trying to make the world not interact in a way that you're worried about, how about learning to honor and respect and accept reality? What if I sit there and say, I've been afraid of relationships because I got hurt once and it really, really scarred me. What scarred me means I held it inside of me and it keeps coming back up, right or wrong. Okay, the problem is not that it happened. The problem is that I couldn't handle that it happened. I said it again. I know it's hard for you. The problem is not that it happened. The problem is that when it happened, I stored it. Why did I store it? Because I couldn't handle it. What if I could handle it? What if I could handle it? I saw the snake. I saw the snake. Thank you, snake. Thank you. You didn't bite me. We had a nice relationship. You scared the hell out of me. So I know there's a thing called snakes. I know to be careful. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm a knower of snakes. I learned something. Not I stored it in there as a terrible experience that I don't ever want to have again. Who's listening? So either, the perfect example, either I'm now going out there and I don't have to worry because I won't get near a snake. I've got guards around the house and I got all kinds of exterminator people inside the house and a gift thing. And I don't go out much, right? And when I do, they're boots up to here. Like I made my life be about the snake. Or I worked on myself inside to say, fine, I saw a snake. It was scary. I can handle that. If you can handle it and you know you can handle it, you don't worry about it. Why, when you rammed on your brakes and skid around when somebody ran a red light and you didn't hit anything, why didn't you walk away saying, God, I drove really well. I can handle this. I don't have to be as scared as I was about other cars and what they do because I was able to handle it. Way healthier, isn't it? It's your choice. It's your choice. And I just described to you earlier that spiritual evolution was the ability to handle reality. It's all saying the same thing. Why don't you learn to handle reality? But no buts. No buts. Why don't you learn to handle reality? Well, you don't understand. My mother gets sick a lot and she wants me to spend time with her and I don't know what to do because I have to go to work. Okay, there's reality. First, handle it. Don't get mad at your mother. Don't get mad at work. Don't quit. Just handle the reality that this is what's happening instead of resisting. Why? Resistance is what you use to store the samskaras. Those patterns are called samskaras. The patterns you held in your mind, consciousness resisted them. Therefore, they stayed. When you resist something, it doesn't pass through, does it? It's your act of resistance that locks it inside and makes it be the meaning of your life. Acceptance, what's the opposite of acceptance? Resistance. Now you're getting the teachings. Relax, accept, honor, respect, appreciate, open, 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 open. Not resist, struggle, fight. Let it go through. Let it go through. Doesn't mean you don't deal with it. Yes, you need to deal with your time factors, things that are pulling on you. But you're way better dealing with it if you're clear and it's not some emotional reactive thing that you're just fighting inside yourself. Believe me, if you were healthier and not resisting, you'd find out you have way more time in life than if you're busy complaining and resisting and talking about it. Look how much time you waste worrying and telling everybody what's wrong and watching blogs that agree with you that this is wrong, all right? Well, not one of you in this room right now watches a blog that talks about the white lines. Why? Because you can handle them, all right? But that person that had the accident, they find other people that want to talk about these white lines and how they should be different. So the answer to worrying is acceptance. The answer to worrying is to work on yourself and say, I can handle it. Handle what? I want this. Ramakrishna used to say, helter skelter, come what may. Come on, bring it on. Bring it on, right? And so you just learn to be open. You learn to work with yourself. You learn to not store things inside. Doesn't mean you don't deal with them. First, let them go. Get neutral. Neutralize them so you don't build a thing out of them in your mind. Now your mind is clear. Now, do you need to deal with it or not? I'm telling you, 90% of that which you worry about and think about never happens, and you wasted your time. That's a great mind. It could have been doing great things. All right. Now we've talked about mind. You can have a healthy mind, just like there's a healthy body. If you're eating stuff that makes the body sick, then complain that the body's sick, that's stupid, right? If you keep doing things that make your mind sick, that makes it crazy, and then you say, okay, my mind's crazy, now what do I do, right? Take this or do something that quiets your mind down. No, yes, do it. I'm not telling you not to, but I would rather have you work on why your mind is not quiet than how to quiet it. See the difference? There's a reason your mind is a mess. Not it's a mess, what I do about it. Now you'll feel guilty you don't meditate enough. There's another thing to play around with. Or it's not working. How come it's not working? I'm doing this mantra, I don't feel any better. There's just another thing to make the mind sick about. But do it. No, I'm serious. You need to do these techniques. But Buddhists say work at the root. The root is the fact that you stored this stuff. If you don't store this stuff, it comes in, passes through. I'm not talking about not having memory. And let me finish it here because you give me arguments, right? That stuff I talk about that you store with all the patterns and resist, that's not memory. That's a samskara. That's a suppressed thing that you held in there. Memory is a natural function of mind. Your mind is just like your body has all kinds of systems that you don't have to deal with. You don't have to worry about memory. It gets stored. As things come in, they pass through. And you can bring them back if you want to. But they don't come back by themselves and haunt you for the rest of your life. That's because you resisted them and stored them. They didn't make it all the way through. So I hope this helps you understand things that you can do to fix the mind. The real things you can do. And you just start with small things in your life, like the weather. I don't want it to rain. I can't believe it's going to rain. I don't want it to rain tomorrow. Well, I'm sorry. That is not a good thing to worry about. Why? Because you have no control over it. And you should be able to just say, okay, if it rains, we'll do this. If it doesn't rain, we'll do that. Fun is fun. All right? Like we have this big Thanksgiving outside, 400 people coming. Once it rained. So it was so much fun. We tried to move all the food inside the building, couldn't handle that many people. And it was just so much fun. It was ridiculous. All right? Just stop defining success and failure. Success is what matches what I want. Failure is what doesn't match what I want. No, life is life, and I'm fine. Wouldn't it be fun to be like that? Just wake up in the morning and say, come on, what's going to happen today? Oh, it would be fun, and I'll do my best. I'll do my best to play. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. All right. Okay. God, I hope you understand. It's a new year. We just changed years. Let this year be the year you put your energy into something that works. Otherwise, you're going to be out there forever fighting with life, trying to make it be what you want. Let go of that. All right. Thank you for listening. Jai Gurudev.
You've been listening to the Michael Singer Podcast, produced by Sounds True in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information on Michael's body of work and all back episodes, please join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. Sounds True, waking up the world.